What's good, everybody? It's been Big Don coming at you with another True Players podcast episode. Before we start the episode, I want to apologize for the last episode I did live that there was no audio. It felt like I was Pootie Tang recording the greatest R&B hit with no sound. But I do want to apologize for that. This is officially season 8, episode 18. This is the episode we're going to be doing. We're going to recap the Wildcard weekend, as well as previewing the next weekend of the divisional playoffs. And before I get started, but guys, I want to address some things that I came across. I dropped a short on TikTok and YouTube, and you had a lot of trolls over there. I mentioned why. My question is about the Aaron, the constant calls for his job and things like that. And I just want to address some people who responded. Some gave me some valuable retorts, and some were trolls, and a few people who are tone deaf, for lack of a better word, tone deaf. But the reason why I asked that question was because during the season, when Aaron Glenn first had the team full throttle, he had Sauce, he had Quinnen. They got off to a slow start. They started off 0-4, 0-3, 0-4. And then the fan base wanted him fired after 4 weeks. I can understand why you wanted him fired, and I'm going to give you reasons why he should have been fired later on this podcast. That's not the point. That's not the point whether or not he should be fired, but the timing of it was kind of bothered me as watching it. And I posed a question to my co-host, and he mentioned the fact of his race. Now, it seems to me that when you speak to a certain people about race, it's very sensitive subject to them, albeit they're the ones who are doing all the oppression. A lot of people seem to forget the past. Who want to forget the past, act as if the past never existed. And this is not the case. Now, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Black coaches have a shorter leash than white coaches. That's not me making it up. It's true facts. Unless you hit it out the ballpark the way Mike Tomlin hit it out the ballpark, you're good. But that's like a 1%er. And truth be told, Mike Tomlin steps down from the Steelers after 19 years. 19 years of winning record, one Super Bowl victory, in the playoffs for most of his coaching career. The man looked tired, man. The man looked tired. And even people was calling for his job. Let's not forget that. People was calling for his job. They totally forgot that he never had a losing season. He had a winning season. Every single season he coached, he had a winning season. But the man looked tired. He got tired of answering the stupid questions from the media that every time a person of color, I'm not gonna say black. I'm not gonna just say black. I'm gonna say minority. It's a minority is on that press conference and has that head coach seat. People try to insult their intelligence with the questions that they ask. And you got a fan base, when you see a minority coach in there, or a black coach or a Hispanic coach, they're on a short leash. They're on a shorter leash than their counterparts. I'm not trying to make this a race thing. It's not. I'm trying to protect. I'm not trying to protect anybody. I'm just calling it with the way it is, from my standpoint. And I had people answer me on TikTok saying he was sick and tired of the race card and all that nonsense. This is not a race card, my man. Didn't the fans call for him to get fired after 4 weeks? Let's answer that question. That's a straight ass. That's an honest to God question. Oh, he has no clue what's going on. He doesn't know this. He doesn't know that. But tell me how many coaches, the team that he had the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, could win with that team. He had a undrafted free agent at quarterback. I can understand the blowouts. You guys didn't agree with it. I didn't agree with the blowouts either, but it was quite frankly a sign that they were tanking. And I'm not a fan of tanking at all. Not a fan of tanking at all. You play with integrity. You get paid a lot of money. The fans pay a lot of money to show up to those games. You got to play with integrity and play to win the game, despite what your talent level is. Okay? People who work 9 to 5 jobs, who struggle to pay that one ticket just to bring their kid to the game. The least you could do it. The least you could do as a franchise. I'm not talking about just the Jets. I'm talking about all the teams who tank. The least you could do is to put out your best effort, not for yourself, but for the fans who had to save that money. Some of them saved money for 2-3 years with a 9-to-5 job, working at minimum wage just to go to a one game just to experience a football game live in the stadium, just to experience it. And you got teams who think a draft choice is going to save them. Listen, the Jets been down this road with draft choices for quarterbacks. Oh, by the way, one of them is actually going to be playing in divisional series. He's the only he's one of 2 quarterbacks in the NFL history to have back-to-back 14-win seasons. And the other guy is Tom Brady. But by the way, guys, who is this quarterback? What's the name of this quarterback that did that? A former Jets draft pick. The guy that the fans did not want anymore. They wanted Zach Wilson. I thought Zach Wilson was the savior. That man is Sam Darnold. Okay? Remember that name. But if I'm Sam Darnold, you gotta win. You gotta win that game because the last playoff appearance last season, you kind of faded at the end. You kind of went back to your old seeing ghost days with the Jets, you know. But and it's a game against the 49ers. The Seahawks for the 49ers, the third straight time that is happening. Third straight time that's happening in this season. Third time they're facing each other. And this time it's the opportunity to go to the NFC Championship game. We saw the Eagles get upset, got beat by those San Francisco 49ers. Reason being, A.J. Brown couldn't catch a ball. He had two critical drops. And you got to give a shout out to Robert Saleh, former Jet coach. Woody Johnson fired him after 5 games last season, and the season was tailspinned after that for the Jets. He comes back to the 49ers as a defense coordinator with a depleted defensive unit. It came out with the upset victory against the Eagles. Granted, the head coach Kyle Shanahan is amazing. He's amazing. He's an amazing head coach. But you know what helps the defense, though? It's a great offense. That offense that San Francisco plays with Christian McCaffrey and all those receivers and Brock Purdy, they protect that defense. And I want something like that for the Jets. I want an offense that can protect the defense when the defense is not playing at their best or they have some injuries. That's a perfect example of how your offense could protect your defense by scoring 7 points and holding on to the football, converting third downs, have long drives. But every wildcard game was a great wildcard game. But I don't want to lose track of it. I'm kind of went ahead in the way I wanted to. But let's talk about these answers. One person asked me on YouTube, which gave me, that's probably the most logical answer I was looking for. And this person on YouTube basically told me, listen, he's a defensive back, former All-Pro defensive back. His defense has 0 interceptions. That's a fireable offense. Is it a fireable offense? Yes. I got to admit it. It is. But at least someone gave me a logical response to the question in that short. A logical response. It's not the only person that did that. But you had a lot of, like I said, you had a lot of trolls. And I get it. You got nothing else better to do but to sit on TikTok and look at my shorts. All right. One person for the love of God, whatever. And someone mentioned Pete Carroll. Mentioned Pete Carroll. I don't know what Pete Carroll meant in this particular short, but Pete Carroll, yes, he was fired after 1 year with the Jets. Yes, he was unceremoniously by an impatient Leon Hess. The team was 6-5. I watched the entire game in that '94 season. The team was 6-5, battling Miami for the first place in the AFC East. That was the game. That was the game. I watched that game, and then that game ended up just up 24-3 at halftime. 24-3. I don't want to go back. That was a bad game. That was a bad game to remember. And our head coach right now was a rookie at that game. Rookie cornerback who the fake spike was scored on against. And this lovely fan base that I share a team with, made light of that as part of his bad coaching, which is ridiculous. I don't get it. Oh, he's not going to be a good coach. He had the fake spike. He was the guy that was the cornerback covering that fake spike. Let me ask you guys a question. After that fake spike, how did his career turn out to be? Became an all-pro cornerback. He was a Pro Bowler. Him and Marcus Coleman, if not, was the top cornerback tandem, or if not 1A, to Cromartie and Revis. Aaron Glenn and Marcus Coleman was 1A in cornerback tandem in New York Jet history. One, of course, is Cromartie and Revis. So you know how that turned out for him after that fake spike. I hope he draws from that experience and realizes that he's better than what he showed this year as a coach. And I just want him as a coach to cut down on the arrogant talk, the rough talk with the media. Rick Cimini was actually watching had his back throughout the season, throughout the struggles. Was Rich Cimini that Cimini was stepping up to watch his back and try to be the encouraging force behind it. But let me answer more of these trolls. And there was one particular, there was a few of them. I think, well, one said, I don't think long-suffering Jets fans or ownership would give a rat's ass what color the coach is if he brought the team to the Meadowlands. I think that's cap, because let me tell you why. Todd Bowles, his first season was 10-6. He lost that critical game against Buffalo. If he had won that game in the last week of the season against Rex Ryan, they were in the playoffs. They didn't win that game. And the fans, I kid you not, the fans was calling for Todd Bowles to be fired after that game. And that was the last time the Jets had a winning record, in 2015. The very last time. So I call cap on that. One person mentioned that the defense had 0 interceptions. He was supposed to be a defense coach. I get it. You know, he should have had a scheme prepared to create some turnovers. But the Jets haven't been a plus turnover team since 2009, guys. Remember that. Is it bad to be the only team in history to have 0 interceptions? Yes, it is very bad, especially with a head coach who's a former All-Pro corner. It's very bad. And I kid you not, guys. At 53 years old, had he suited up and played a couple of snaps, he probably would have got 2 interceptions. And if he had suited up. Because that secondary had stone hands. I could have counted at least 4 interceptions this team could have had. 4. The guys was dropping the ball, or wasn't turning their head to look for the ball when the ball was in the air. Didn't even turn around and look for the ball. That's part of being a cornerback. That's part of playing coverage, is to turn around and look for the ball. They had the D. Milner disease. D Milner would not have been a bust had he just turned around and looked for the ball. Let me talk, and I'll hit you with this other troll. He said, "I like Aaron Glenn, want him to stay, but as soon as y'all say he was black, y'all some goofy ass MFers. If you like Aaron Glenn, why did you even comment? That's my point. Why'd you even comment? If you liked him, Psycho cap on that too. You don't like him. You want him fired too. Let's be real. And you calling this goofy, bro? You got devil horns in your profile picture. Who's the goofy one? Next. All right. I'm having fun. I love trolling people. They want to troll me. Some fool said, Hawk 8256, I had to call him by name. He said, the Jets fired their best head coach, Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh was the best head coach? All right. I have some encouraging fans here. Tony Vinny Buck Biscuits was like, yo, stop the shit with Glenn. I agree. Stop the shit. That's a plan. But with all due respect, Vinny, I like your post. What is the plan? That's what I'm trying to find out. He can't, like I said, it's like when you act a certain way, you made yourself a target. I'm acting in a certain way. Now the fans and the media wants you fired. Okay. The one thing you can't do in New York is, and he should know this because he played in New York. The two things that can get you fired quickly is the fan response towards you as a head coach and the media. Got to be humble. Got to be humble and stop mentioning. Just got to stop mentioning the my experience, your experience in Detroit, and then you got all these mentors. You got to stop doing that. You got to be yourself as a head coach. Be you. Because what happened in Detroit does not matter. You're in New York. You, like I said, you've been in New York. You understand New York. You should have understand New York. This should not be, rocket science to you. It should not be rocket science to you. But like I said, I still support him. He's not going to, guys, as much as you could want to say, even though John Harbaugh was fired and Mike Tomlin stepped down, Aaron Glenn will be your head coach for year 2, for next year. All right? So give it up, stop it, and end this bullshit talk about him. Please get fired. Okay? We saw 2 great coaches. One was let go, one stepped down. I talked a little bit about Mike Tomlin. As the reports are saying that he's going to take the year off. And even if the Jets would have fired Aaron Glenn and hired Mike Tomlin, you got to trade. You got to give him compensation. He's still on the contract with the Steelers for 2 years. You got to provide him with compensation. And I think John Harbaugh, he came to visit the Giants today. The Giants put on a full press on him to be their head coach. The full press was on. Flew him out in a private jet to East Rutherford, New Jersey. Full of press on, and John walked out the building without a contract. So I don't know what that means. It may mean nothing. He maybe wants to go talk to other teams because the Atlanta needs a head coach, which is a good scenario. Miami needs a head coach. Pittsburgh needs a head coach. I doubt he'll go to Pittsburgh, but who knows? We never know what may happen. It's all about John's probably looking for the type of team that fits him and his best opportunity to win. You forget what I'm saying. Those are the Cleveland. You got the quarterback there with Shador, and the defense. That's probably a place where possibly Robert Saleh could go. But for me, I think Robert Saleh would fit great in Atlanta. He would fit great there. His personality, his upbeat personality, it fits Atlanta. For some reason, his defensive coordinator with the Jets is there. That'll probably be a good look for Robert Saleh. Atlanta got a good young quarterback in Penix. Got a young defense. Got the running game with Bijan Robinson, and there's another running back that was pretty good too. The game that I attended that the Jets won. They got two good running backs over there. I think this could be a great redeeming project for Robert Saleh. The Giants now, that's a good place. I forgot the other teams, but I guess the other teams don't matter. The Raiders is a mess, but I think Tom is gonna bring somebody. Tom Brady's gonna bring somebody there that he knows. What do you guys think about John Gruden? Where would he go? Brian Flores got an interview with the Ravens, which if he's able to get a job, that'd be a great look for Flores, Brian Flores. And to address the race card situation from the guy from the TikTok, isn't Brian Flores suing the NFL for collusion? And what skin color is Brian Flores? Just for that person to say he's tired of the race card being played. For that one person that trolled me on TikTok. Is Brian Flores black? And he's suing the NFL for that. I'm done. Tone deaf, tone blind bats because they're tired of hearing things. This is the world we live in. You guys may not live in the world that I live in. We don't live in the same world. We just live in the same atmosphere, the same world, but not exactly. You don't live in my world. So you don't know the situation, the struggles that we go through as minorities, as black people. You don't know that because everything was handed to you. It was either handed to you, or you stole it. All right. I root for my team. Okay, I root for my team no matter what color the head coach is. But if it's someone of my ilk, I want them to succeed even more. So I know the pressure that comes with it. You see the pressure that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? Guys are screaming for Rex Ryan. Listen, if you guys heard me on previous podcasts, right? I did mention I wanted Rex Ryan to come back and coach this team. So I think this team was built for him to come back and coach. But if he didn't get the job, I wanted somebody who was in the Jets family to take the job. Not only you find someone in the Jets family to take the job, you find a former Pro Bowl player to take over. Someone to rally around with. When Aaron Glenn was hired, he brought all those former Jet players back into the room. Whether it was Rain Corbett, Ray Mickens, Victor Green, all those guys came back to the team. And the fan base and the certain media guys want this guy to get fired. You know how bad that's going to look. You can't even get a good decent head coach because of the owner. Now, if you come up and fire a Jet legend, it's going to look bad. After 1 year, it's going to look very bad. Now, no coach will want to come coach here. The only coaches you can get is probably college coaches or inexperienced coordinators to coach this team. I'm not telling you no bullshit. I'm not here to clarify anything. This is real shit. One thing about True Players podcast, if you ever watch my podcast, we're gonna tell you straightforward. We're not here for virals. We're not here for clicks. We're not here for bullshit. We're not here for lies. We don't tell lies on this podcast. We see our observation and we deliver it to the people. That's what we do on True Plays Podcast. We're not going to be like somebody Tommy Lugauer on WFN. I don't know how he gets it up. He just be saying anything. Just be saying anything. I never seen a flip-flopper as much as him in my life. I'll keep getting off our track because people get me upset. Well, not really. But now the Giants, if they don't get John Harbaugh, where are the Giants going to go from here? Where could the Giants go from here? Kevin Stefanski? You're not going to get Tomlin. I'm sorry, guys. Anybody's wishing for Tomlin, he's going to take the year off, probably do some TV, and go from there. The man, he looked tired. He looked tired, man. You see, young. He's a 53-year-old. He looked like he aged 20 years. The man looks very tired. These will break a little bit. Where else? Mike McCarthy to the Giants interview Mike McCarthy. It's Kevin Stefanski, I believe they spoke to. I don't want nothing to do with Cliff Kingsbury. We saw what he did in Arizona, which I won't say was a disaster, but it wasn't great either. I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole. Will the Giants consider interviewing Raheem Morris? He just got let go from Atlanta after finishing the season strong after a slow start. Finished the season strong with I believe he had like end of the season with four straight wins, and spoiled Tampa Bay's return to the playoffs by beating the Saints. Does he get another shot at a head coaching job, this time in his hometown of New Jersey? We'll see what happens on that end. We'll definitely see what's going to happen on that end. Before I go into the recap of the NFL playoffs, let me talk about let me go back to the New York Jets and Aaron Glenn, what he needs to do to protect his job, because I'll be naive and stupid to think that he's not on the hot seat walking into next season. You'd be naive and stupid to think about that. He has to first cement his plan. Okay, cement his plan, have his game plan, and find his coach on the defensive side of the football that matches what he wants. Okay. And again, he has experience with this situation as a player. Let's go back when Herman was hired as head coach. Herman came from a Tampa 2 type of defense. He hired Ted Cottrell to be his defensive coordinator. Ted Cottrell was a 3-4 cover 3 defense coordinator. And granted, the Jets defense struggled that early in the season because Ted Cottrell was trying to incorporate a defense that he did not know about. He didn't understand. He did. I mean, he's a good defense coordinator, but he didn't. That was not his forte. Cover Tampa 2 cover 2 defense. That wasn't his forte, and the defense struggled. But once they did switch to 4-3. But Ted Cottrell started implementing his cover 3 within the 4-3 alignment and allowed more man-to-man coverage with Marcus Coleman and Aaron Glenn. And the defense turned it around. Okay? You hired Steve Wilks to be a defense coordinator, and the defense got worse. This was a top 5 defense the season before. Top 5. And his defense took a step the other way and didn't get an interception for the entire season. I get you had injuries to the defense, but quite frankly, what I saw in that defense, which the Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh defense hid a lot of flaws in that linebacking core with Quincy Williams and Sherwood and all that stuff, was the ability to cover. In the Aaron Glenn defense, especially in Detroit, the linebackers knew how to cover. Everyone knew how to cover. And Aaron Glenn is gonna bring in some linebackers who could not only rush, blitz, but also cover. There was so many times the Jets was getting beat up by tight ends and running backs come out the backfield and quarterbacks who could run out of the pocket. Even though they had a spy on them, they still couldn't keep up with them. I like Quincy Williams. I really do. But I think in the grand scheme of things, he doesn't fit this defense that Aaron Glenn is trying to implement. He doesn't fit. I'm sorry. They should have traded him at the deadline. You want to worry about this. He just doesn't fit. Sometimes it happens. But Aaron Glenn's hire. He blundered with the defense coordinator. He blundered with that. He blundered with the quarterback that he brought in. Okay? Those are two areas he has to fix and get right if he plans on coaching through his second season and beyond. Those are two things he has to get fixed. Okay? There's a few quarterbacks that's available. Malik Willis, I heard, is available. A lot of people saying no about him to be that bridge quarterback. I like Mac Jones. I'll be honest. I like Mac Jones. I always did. He struggled in New England because I think Belichick just didn't like him. And I believe he played. in the playoffs. He was a starting quarterback for in Patriots in the playoffs. But let me double check that, guys. But I definitely believe he was a playoff quarterback with the Patriots. As a rookie quarterback, yes, he did. He lost to the Bills in 2022. As a rookie, he did play in a playoff game with the Patriots. That's a guy I like. He's from Alabama. Maybe he could break that Namath curse. Maybe he'd be the one. Or could be that Sampson kid in Alabama. But the Jets need to be careful with the next quarterback they draft. They got to be careful. If you're going to get a quarterback, make sure he sits the entire season. Don't bring him in. Ty Simpson. There you go. Ty Simpson. Bring him in. Let him sit and watch the quarterback that's going to be there. This quarterbacks I could say that they could possibly bring in someone like a Marcus. What's his name? Oh, I forgot his name. Jesus, Marcus Mariota, bridge quarterback. Mac Jones. You could bring in one quarterback that was a former Jet quarterback. I'm iffy about it because I don't think the owner liked him. Is Geno Smith? I know he had a horrible season with the Raiders, but being behind that Raiders offensive line, anybody and everybody will have a bad season behind that offensive line. How bad they played. Anybody would have a bad offense. Would you guys consider having Geno Smith be that bridge quarterback to Ty Simpson? I didn't think the Jets gonna draft Ty Simpson. I have a good feeling about it. But where they draft him is going to be key. Where they draft him. Everyone wanted Dante Moore, but Dante Moore shit in his pants during the playoffs against the Indiana, against that big matchup between him and Mendoza. So he decided to stay in school. I know people was talking shit. Stephen A was talking shit that he don't want to play for the Jets. I don't even want the kid to play for the Jets. He's that bad. He wasn't that great. He needs to stay in school, get some more seasoning. And NIL, you're gonna make money. You're gonna make money in college anyway. So stay in college. Get more seasoned. The reason why I say this, I don't want the Jets to make the same mistake Gettleman did with the Giants. I'm gonna tell you this: when they selected Daniel Jones 6, when he could have been available at 19 anyway, the Giants had the opportunity to get Josh Allen, the linebacker slash edge rusher that the Jaguars got now. They could have had that guy Josh Allen on the Giants and still could have drafted Daniel Jones, and there goes your defense. You fix the defense, you got the quarterback later in the quarterback that you want later in the first round. I don't want the Jets to make that same mistake. They got 2 picks in the first round. They got number 2 pick, and I believe is the next pick. I believe is 16 that they got from the Colts. Played by ear. If you sense someone's going to take him, then you have to either move up. They have him slated for a late first round, early second round. But since Dante Moore is going back to school, I think that's going to change. But then again, the combine will pretty much dictate how far someone will jump up or dictate how down they slip down. Look at Zach Wilson. Like I said, he was the number 2 pick because of the combines. That's all I can say. So picking a quarterback is going to be key. It's going to be key for Aaron Glenn his second year. You know, it's going to be clear. I gave you a few quarterbacks you can pick up: Mariota, Geno Smith, Willis, and eventually the Uso Tua Tagovailoa could be getting cut by the Dolphins. I think it's done. I think it may happen. They got to worry about the cap hits of cutting him. Could get the Uso. Not my first choice, but you can get the Uso. How about Mitchell Trubisky? How you guys feel about Mitchell Trubisky as the bridge quarterback to the next quarterback for the Jets? He was a starting quarterback in a playoff game with the Bears. I'm just saying. Think about it. Do you need somebody that's going to be serviceable and give your team a competitive, not competitive advantage, a competitive makes your team competitive? You know what I'm saying? Brady Cook is not the answer. I'm sorry to say it. I'm very upset they didn't keep that Adrian Martinez. It would have been great to see how he looks on a regular season game. It would have been great if they had kept him. And next thing about Aaron Glenn is, as far as special teams, he got the right coach for special teams. He got that right coach. He needs that. He needs that superstar coach for the defense. Okay, he has to find somebody that matches his ideals. Jim Schwartz could he be somebody that could be the defense coordinator of the Jets? That's going to be a tough one because he may have his eyes on being the head coach of the Browns. He has an inside track on that. Wink Martindale, the former Giants coordinator, blitz heavy, emphasizes turnovers. Which is exactly what the Jets need. Chris Harris. It's hard to make an evaluation of Chris Harris because he didn't have the full complement, the full defense at his disposal. A.Z. Thomas was out for the rest of the season. A lot of injuries in the secondary. A lot of injuries in the linebacker core. He couldn't really evaluate him. But if I was Aaron Glenn, I'm looking for somebody who's experienced and someone with experience. Got to swallow your ego, Aaron. You get somebody who could at least be an assistant head coach to you to save your job, to protect your job. Not to save your job, to protect your job. Al Harris from the Chicago Bears. the scheme, the philosophy matches. He was a DB coach for Chicago. Man coverage scheme. The secondary, the Chicago Bears secondary lead the league in interceptions this season. Okay. That's something that you may have to look at. But I believe Wink Martindale, if the Giants were able to close the deal, whether it's later this week or next week with John Harbaugh, Wink Martindale's going back to the Giants as defense coordinator. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, guys. It's going to happen. So enough with this. We will touch back again later in the offseason about what else the Jets could do and the Giants can do to be competitive next season. But now let's go over. Let's quickly recap the playoffs of this past weekend. The Rams versus the Carolina Panthers. It was great. That was a great game, though. Great game, back and forth. You know, 4 fourth quarter lead changes in that contest. It was a very exciting game. TJ Stroud, not CJ Stroud. Bryce did a hell of a job competing with Matthew Stafford, but the Rams with more experience able to pull that game out. Chicago Bears versus the Packers, which Benny thought that Mike LaFleur would have been fired after this game. Apparently, he still has a job. But the Bears came from behind, 21-3 halftime deficit. The Cardiac Bears with Caleb Williams, came from behind and won the football game. Great game. Great game. Now they're going to be home to face the Rams. I'm going to do my picks in that game, okay? Let's do the picks for that game, guys. I'm going to go with the Rams. The Rams. The Bears can't get down early against the Rams. The Rams got a very good offense. Once they get ahead of you, they're gonna put their feet on your neck. So Bears gotta be ready. Okay. And now we go to the Sunday games. We got the Bills versus the Jaguars. I was very disappointed. I was really hoping the Jaguars would have beaten the Bills, but Josh Allen, all he does is win. He finds a way to win. He had banged his hand on someone's helmet early in the game and still fought through that and led his team with a comeback victory 27-24 against the Jaguars. The Bills now go to Denver. Take on the Broncos. Let me hold on. Yep. Bills will take on the Broncos. That's going to be a tough game for the Bills. It's going to be a tough game for the Broncos. It's going to be a good game between both teams. And like everyone's saying, this is Josh Allen's shot to get to the Super Bowl. He has to get to the Super Bowl. And this is going to be a tough team. Bo Nix is ready for the challenge. Good defense on Denver's side of the football. It's a big opportunity. And my pick for this, as much as I hate the Bills in the upset against the Denver Broncos in Mile High Stadium. That's what I'm going with. Now, as we go back to, I think I spoke about this earlier in the podcast, San Francisco against the Philadelphia Eagles. The 49ers lost Kittle in that game with a torn Achilles, which is going to be big for them against the Seattle Seahawks, who they're facing. Stingy defense, depleted defense, but they played very well, able to eke out the 4-point win against San Francisco 49ers. A.J. Brown dropped 2 balls. Looks like he's going to leave Philadelphia. Him and the coach had a little argument on the sideline. They were able to break it up. Yeah. The Eagles, something was off. Something was off with that team. Something was really off with that team. former Super Bowl champion. You know, when you had Saquon, you got the ability to do whatever you want. And they just couldn't do it. So now I'm going to discuss this. Now, San Francisco, like I said earlier, goes to Seattle, takes on Sam Darnold, their former backup quarterback. Okay. Now, rooting interest for me, who I would like to win, is Sam Darnold and the Seahawks. But it's going to be a tight game between NFC West rivals. Going to be a tight game. But I'm going to go with Sam Darnold getting over the hump, coming back from his struggles from last season's playoffs. End of season, he's going to go to the NFC Championship game with the Seahawks. That's what I'm going to go with. The magical run of 49ers always going to the NFC Championship game on the Kyle Shanahan ends this week, this coming weekend. That's what I'm going to roll with. The Patriots, you know how I feel. I'm a Jet fan, so you know how I feel about the Patriots. I hate them. But they beat the Chargers and beat the living shit out of Justin Herbert. That offensive line couldn't do nothing against that Patriot defense. Could not do nothing. Pressure after pressure. Herbert was going to get knocked out the fucking game. He was kept on getting pressured. So now the Patriots, they're going to play against the winner versus the Steelers. Well, we saw Aaron Rodgers, did not play well against that very physical Houston Texan defense. Very physical. Houston Texans, those boys, DeMeco Ryans, got them boys playing hard. Only one question, people were trying to say that it was C.J. Stroud was trying to throw the game because he had like 5 fumbles, what have you. Listen, you don't know what it is in the NFL. So you don't know. But they're going to the next round. They're going to face the Patriots in Foxborough. In Gillette Stadium. Sorry. It's going to be a very good game between two teams. Patriots got the edge in coaching, in my opinion, but not by much. But if DeMeco Ryans could get this defense to play as physical as they played against the Chargers, against the Steelers, my pick is I'm gonna go make this pick right now. I'm going with DeMeco Ryans and the Texans to go to the AFC Championship game. Mark my words. They're going to the AFC Championship game. The Patriots have never seen a defense like this the entire season. Have not seen it. If CJ Stroud gets over his miscues that he had against the Steelers, yeah. You're going to look at a Buffalo Bills versus Texans AFC Championship game. You're going to look at the Seattle versus Seattle versus the Rams going to Chicago. Yeah, Seattle and the Rams in the NFC Championship game. That's my 2 picks for the championship games. If you guys want to challenge me on that, go ahead. As I'm getting ready to wrap up this podcast, guys. And before I wrap up the podcast, I want to go back to what I was saying about Aaron Okay. Touch back on and I said it before, I'm going to say it again. He's on the hot seat. Right as of the season ended, he's on the hot seat. There's nothing that he should do to protect his job and consider. Probably moving Ekstrom to the either pass coordinator position or a quarterback coach and get you an official offensive coordinator. Mike Macdonald is available, but Mike Macdonald also could be a candidate for the head coaching job for another team. So you don't know what's going to happen with him. Get someone like Mike Macdonald, someone who could be like a consultant or offensive coordinator. The person who could bring the best out of Breece Hall. And guys who's saying Breece Hall is leaving, he's not leaving. They're going to put the franchise tag on him. He's not leaving. He's going to be a Jet next year. My hope is they work out a contract first, so he'd be on for a couple of years. But the Jets need an offense coordinator, or they need a good quarterback coach. And this is who I want to be a quarterback coach of the New York Jets. Josh McCown. Yeah, I said it. Josh McCown would be a hell of a quarterback coach for whatever quarterback the Jets bring in as a bridge, and for the quarterback that they draft either this season, this draft, or the next draft. Josh McCown will be a hell of a quarterback coach. I think he could be a hell of an offense coordinator too. I really do. So that's my pick. That's my pick for if I was Aaron Glenn, that's what I would do. That's what I would fucking do. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna end the podcast here. It's been great talking to you guys. We're just gonna apologize for that episode. You didn't hear what the hell I was saying. Like I said, I feel like Pootie Tang. I had to take the episode off Facebook and YouTube, and I do apologize for that. I did my sound check before I did this, so. So on that note, we're gonna end the podcast here. I want to talk about Mets. I wanted to about the Kyle Tucker. That's gonna be another episode. I may have to do a quick episode with you guys about that later on this week, or probably during the weekend. Let's see where the chips fall. I also want to talk about get some Knicks talk also. So maybe I should bring Matt back to talk about the Mets and the Knicks again. So we'll see what happens. So on that note, guys, I'm going to end the podcast. Like, follow, subscribe to me on TikTok, Spotify, YouTube. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank here. Amazon Music. Pandora Podcast. I'm on there too. So definitely follow me, like, subscribe, follow me on those platforms. If you have any comments, complaints, or suggestions for the podcast, if you want to be a host of the podcast, feel free. Hit me up. As long as it's respectful. I'm not here to go back and forth with trolls or anything like that on the podcast. We're gonna have some good conversation. It's okay to disagree, but keep it respectful. Hit me up. Comment on the podcast if you're interested in that. So on that note, guys, I'm signing off for this podcast. I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.